house was haunted. That would certainly explain the weird happenings she'd experienced, but she didn't have the courage to suggest anything of the sort to her aunt, who'd already made her feelings known on the subject of the supernatural. Yet with the handprint on the window and now this, the longer Aveline stayed, the more she became convinced that it wasn't just the two of them living here. Aveline excused herself and her aunt decided to go to bed too. Normally Aunt Lillian would stay up late, but tonight Aveline felt relieved that she'd have someone to go upstairs with. The lights didn't quite reach to the top of the staircase. Aunt Lillian clicked off the lamps and placed the guard in front of the fire. Reluctantly, Charlie left his warm spot in front of the fireplace and trotted into the kitchen before curling up in his basket. When her aunt locked the back door, Aveline noticed she tugged on the door handle 3 or 4 times to check that it was secure. "Aunt Lillian, I saw that picture on the wall earlier, the old one of the house. Where did you get it?" "Oh, I don't know. I think I found it in the attic. Lots of junk up there. Anyway, come on, let's go to bed." At the top of the stairs, both of them paused. "Well, good night then," Aunt Lillian said. "Don't forget, I'm just across the landing if you need me." It seemed an odd thing to say, almost as if Aunt Lillian could sense Aveline's growing nervousness about the house and its quirks, but it did have the effect of making Aveline feel a little less uneasy. After hearing her aunt's bedroom door close, Aveline grabbed the diary and jumped into bed. This was it, the moment she'd both been dreading and been excited about. Pulling the sheets up to her chin, Aveline had run her hand over the cover of the book, the sense of anticipation almost unbearable. Did Primrose have any inkling of what was about to happen to her? And was there more to her disappearance than simply sleepwalking? Swallowing hard, Aveline opened the diary. There were only a few pages left, and the entries were still short. It felt like time was running out, as if Primrose was struggling against something unseen. "Hello, diary. I hope you're feeling better than I am. I'm having trouble sleeping at night. No more nightmares, thankfully, but I can't stop thinking about that lady from my dream. She was just someone in an old story at first, but I can't help thinking that by reading about her, I've somehow made her real. I'm afraid to go to sleep. I've got bags under my eyes and keep yawning at school. My teacher even noticed and asked if I was okay. I've got a confession to make too. Promise you won't tell anyone. I scribbled out that story in the book that's been creeping me out so much. I hope it'll make me forget about the creepy lady. I feel bad, but it's my book, and I don't want anyone else to read that story in case the same thing happens to them, and they start seeing people that aren't really there too." Finally, Aveline had her answer. She understood now why Primrose had done it. While frustrated at being denied a chance to read the story for herself, Aveline felt desperately sorry for her friend from the past. Imagine being that afraid of a story. Aveline realised that this was proof Harold had been right about the pen too. She needed to let him know that his suspicions had been correct, credit where credit was due. His talents obviously extended beyond setting the world record for number of chips stuffed in a single mouth. Lowering her head, she read on, eager to see what else she could learn. "Dear Diary, I thought there was someone in the house this evening when I got home. Mum and Dad had gone out to pick Kevin up from football. The front door was wide open and the house stank like a fishing boat. I didn't go in and waited in the front garden until they came home. Dad went in and checked, but there was nobody there. He said they might have forgotten to close the door because they were late and in a rush. Doesn't explain the smell, though. It reminded me of what the harbour smells like after a storm, when all the driftwood and rubbish gets washed up on the beach. All those horrible scarecrows around town are getting on my nerves too. What's that all about anyway? Dad says it's just some crazy local Halloween thing, but why would you want to put a load of scarecrows up that look like sick kids? Dad asked if we wanted to make one, but I told him no way. It's stupid and creepy." Aveline chewed on her bottom lip, Primrose's fear leaking out of the diary like a trail of black smoke. So the scarecrows happened every year. That was interesting. It was also another thing that she and Primrose agreed on. They were unsettling, to say the least. Aveline hadn't forgotten her 2 creepy scarecrow neighbours only a few 100 metres away. Burrowing down under the covers as far as she could go, Aveline turned the page. "Dear Diary, someone sat down on my bed in the middle of the night. I woke up but there was nobody there, but I don't think I dreamed it. I felt a real heavy weight, and there was that weird smell again. It's hard to describe how I feel, but it's like being chased. Only you can't see who's chasing you. I tried to talk to Kelly about it, but she said I was imagining things. I'm not, though. You believe me, don't you? By now, Aveline wanted to take the diary back to the bookshop and bury it in the box where they'd found it. At first it had been fascinating, now it was quickly becoming terrifying, but she couldn't stop. She had to get to the end. Dear Diary, today I think I saw a ghost, the same woman who I dreamed about. She was standing on the beach as we were walking home from school. She had long black hair and looked dirty, like she hadn't eaten or washed for a long time, just standing there in the water. I grabbed Kelly and pointed to the beach, but I swear as soon as Kelly looked, the woman wasn't there any longer. I didn't imagine it though. Or maybe I did, I don't know. It feels like I'm going crazy. I'm scared. I've always wanted to see a ghost, but when you actually see one for real, it's not like you expect. It's horrible and freaky, and the worst thing is that nobody believes you. A dog barked in the night. Aveline stared nervously at the window. The curtains moved slightly, blown by an invisible breath. Dear Diary, didn't go to school today, stayed in bed. I don't want to go outside in case I see that lady again, but I don't want to stay home either. It's Halloween tomorrow and some of my friends have asked me if I'm going out, but I can't face it. I don't know what to do. Maybe if I just try and stop thinking about her, she'll go away, but I'm not sure that'll do the trick. Because I think I've worked out who the lady is, and if I'm right, she's been coming to Malmouth for a very long time now and isn't about to stop. The worst thing is, I think I know what she wants too. She wants me. It was the final entry. Frantically, Aveline flicked through the rest of the diary, but the remaining pages were blank. She reread the last entries. So Primrose believed she was being haunted by a lady she'd read about in the ghost book. It seemed too crazy to be true. But what other explanation was there for the things she'd experienced? The really uncanny thing was, tomorrow would be the anniversary of Primrose's disappearance. Halloween. Aveline had read Primrose's final diary entry on the same day of the year that it had been written. Also, if Primrose had believed, rightly or wrongly, that someone or something was after her, then it seemed more than just a coincidence that she went missing shortly after. Poor Primrose. She'd tried to do everything she could to help, not only herself but others too, by scribbling out that story. If only she hadn't deleted the one clue that might help solve the mystery of her disappearance.